On Wednesday, Finland's prime minister issued an apology directed to the people of Japan, China, and South Korea. It was not prompted by a policy failure or diplomatic dispute, but by a photograph. At the center of it lies a gesture made by Miss Finland. She pulled the corner of her eyes and posted the picture on social media with a caption that meant eating with the Chinese. Soon her crown was taken away, but the country's lawmakers stepped in to support her, actually, posting similar slanted eyes pictures. The racist gesture spread through social media, forcing the prime minister into damage control. Our next report has all the details.
Finland's prime minister has apologized, not for his government's policies, and certainly not to the voters at home. The apology was directed to the citizens of Japan, China, and South Korea, or in collective terms, the people of East Asia. It was a rare moment, and it forced the country to confront an ugly global backlash. At the center of the storm was a gesture made by Finland's representative at the Miss Universe pageant, Sarah Zafche. In late November, a photo of her began circulating online. In it, Zafche is seen pulling the corners of her eyes outward. It is a gesture long viewed as mocking East Asian features. The image alone was troubling, but the caption made it explosive. Written in Finnish, it translated to "eating with a Chinese." Together, the gesture and the words landed like a slap. Across East Asia, anger erupted. Social media feeds filled with condemnation. The photo was called racist, disrespectful, unacceptable. A symbol of something deeper and uglier. Zafche tried to explain. In her defense, she said the gesture was a reaction to a headache. She claimed the caption was added by a friend without her permission, and then she apologized. But by then, the damage was done. The verdict came swiftly. Her crown was taken away. End of story? Not even close. What followed pushed the controversy far beyond a beauty pageant. Finnish politicians, members of the populist Finns Party, part of the ruling coalition, posted images of themselves making the same slanted eye gesture. They said it was an act of support. Critics called it mockery layered on top of insult. 3 lawmakers were suddenly in the spotlight. One apologized, another said no harm was intended, and the third refused to say sorry at all. Public outrage intensified, and Finland's reputation began to wobble. This was when the Prime Minister stepped in. Petteri Orpo called the gestures thoughtless and stupid. He warned they were damaging the country, and soon after, he apologized directly to Japan, China, and South Korea through Finland's embassies.
I offer my sincere apologies for the recent offensive social media posts done by individual MPs. These posts do not reflect Finland's values of equality and inclusion. Racism and discrimination have no place in Finnish society.
But the fallout didn't stop at words. Japanese collaborations with Finland were put on hold. The country's airline carrier, Finnair, admitted its brand had taken a hit. It said there had been calls for tourists to boycott Finland.
The statements or posts mentioned by some Finnish members of parliament do not represent the values of Finnair. As an airline supported by employees from diverse backgrounds and customers around the world, we promise to welcome everyone with respect.
And now, the Finns Party faces an internal reckoning, with possible sanctions looming over its MPs. All of this from one photograph. What began as a quiet evening in Thailand ended with a crown stripped, politicians embarrassed, and an entire nation scrambling to explain itself to the world. A reminder that in a connected world, intent matters less than impact. That power, fame, and public office come with consequences, and that a single moment, frozen in pixels, can spiral into a crisis no apology can fully erase. Because once the world is watching, there is no such thing as just a photo. This was never just a scandal, it was a mirror. And once racism is reflected so clearly, there is no pretending it was never there.
I was born into privilege, but I sold myself as the voice of the poor. I led a revolution in the mountains and marched into Havana as a hero. I promised freedom, equality, dignity. What I built was a one-party state. I survived invasions, embargoes, and enemies, but my people survived shortages in silence. Some called me El Comandante. History calls me something else. A dictator. Who am I?